All right, we're here on episode 9. We're back for another episode, and we are bringing the lovely Taylor Winter. Hey,
Hi.
girl.
So excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. So we're going to jump right into it as we always do, and we are going to learn about her journey. So tell us a little bit about your background. How did your journey start in the fitness industry? I know you have a bomb story, so let's hear it.
Oh, yes. So I struggled with my weight since I was a child. I think I struggled with it more throughout high school. And then by the time I was in my early 20s, I had hit, well, actually, when I graduated high school, I hit like 275, and I'm 5'9" for reference. So I was a pretty like big girl, and I was the most like insecure, shy, like you couldn't get me to do anything that required like being in front of a bunch of people or talking to like new people at all, going out into new spaces. And I kind of like, fumbled my way through high school, graduated. Then when I got into college, I kind of lost my identity in my weight a little bit. I think I went through an era of like feeling like, you know what, it's okay. Like, body positivity. I love myself. Like I'm going to love myself. And I think that's still important. But when I was about, I want to say 24, 25, I think I was 24. I went on a vacation with my sister and my best friend, and we went on a trip to Great America, and we were in line for the first ride at the Great America amusement park. And we got on the ride, and we're sitting there waiting for the ride to start. And I was sitting in my own little seat, and my sister and my best friend are sitting in front of me. And one of the attendants of the ride comes up to me, and she says, "Excuse me, you're going to need to get off the ride because the ride's not going to start."
What?
And I like look at her, and I'm like, "What? Like, really?" And she's like, "Yeah, you need to get off the ride. Like the ride is not going to start with you on it." And she didn't really reference whether it was because I was too big or whatnot, but I just know she cornered me, made me get up. And of course, my sister and my best friend are going to get up. So we all three have to get up in front of this insane line of people. And I had to do this like walk of shame as like this big girl that couldn't ride the ride. And it was literally the most humiliating experience I've ever had in my life. I broke down. I couldn't even like enjoy the rest of the experience. And I remember thinking in my head, like, this is the last time that you're ever going to allow like your weight or anything control you, right? Because there's nobody else that's stopping me from like reaching my goals or doing what I need to do. It's me that needs to pull myself out of bed, and it's me that needs to hold myself accountable. So it kind of broke me apart. But as soon as I went home, I literally got a gym membership to Planet Fitness. I cleaned out my entire house of like anything that was bad, quote unquote. And I just started this journey of like, you know what, in 1 year, if I can't lose 100 pounds, then I'll go get like gastric bypass, or I'll go get the gastric sleeve. Because that's what my doctor was pushing on me. Every time I'd go back to her, why can't I lose weight? I'm doing this, I'm doing that. She was just like, well, maybe you should think about the sleeve. Maybe you should think, never any reference to like, maybe you should try eating this. Maybe you should go seek out a personal trainer. Right. Maybe you should, it was always just lose, this, just go do a bunch of cardio, just eat 1,200 calories. So once I, committed to, I'm going to give myself 1 year. And if I really can't do it in 1 year, then I'll go get one of those surgeries. And sure enough, literally a year and 6 months later, I went from 297 pounds to my smallest at 165. And I went all the way from a size 26 and could only shop at Torrid and Lane Bryant to being a size 10 and not even knowing where to shop after that, because I was so not used to being that small. And once I had kind of gone through that journey, there were so many girls that were like, can you help me? I want to lose weight. Like, I don't know where to start. I didn't feel like qualified enough, because even when I had hit 165, like I was like, okay, cool. Like I lost a bunch of weight, but I wasn't so confident. I was still very insecure. I still didn't really enjoy what my results looked like, because I was only doing like hours of cardio and barely lifting any weights, because when you're big, you're told don't lift weights because you're going to get bulky, right? And that was the myth back then. So I didn't do any kind of like strength training. I didn't do any kind of weightlifting. And it wasn't until I lost the weight that I was like, well, man, I don't have a butt. I don't have muscles. Like, what do I do now? I don't like this. This isn't what I thought was going to happen. And then from there, I was like, why don't I, go on another journey? So it went from trying to be my smallest to now like, well, let me try and build muscle. So I started I found a trainer on Instagram, and I met with her, and she gave me a workout program. And then I was like, okay, let me try and get certified myself, and let me see if I can learn this. And over time, I just kind of picked up all this experience. And through putting myself out there on Instagram and sharing my before and afters and kind of posting my journey, I ended up finding Doyen Activewear, which is Yvette's brand. So that's how I met Yvette. And I found Doyen Activewear, and I was like, okay, she's going to have this little pop-up. Maybe I should go. Like, I'm not a fit girl. I'm not in the scene like that, but let me just go and like put myself out there. And I remember sitting in my car outside of her event thinking, oh my gosh, like I can't go in here. I'm not like these girls. I'm not fit like that. I haven't been in the gym that long. Like, what am I doing? And I literally almost drove away, but I told myself for some reason, I looked at myself in the rearview mirror and I was like, you deserve to be here. Like, you worked for this. Nobody's going to tell you no when you walk into that room, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I got out of my car. I went inside and I just had the most amazing experience with her. She talked about her brand and what Doyen Activewear was and what she stood for and for women. And we just really hit it off. And she was like, I know you, you're from Instagram. And we just really connected, right? And then not that long after that, I was still on my little journey, still, secretly got certified, was still going to the gym. And she reached out to me and she was like, hey, I'm having a photo shoot for my activewear line and I would love to have you come and take pictures for it. And I'm like, what? Like, this girl wants me? Like, I'm not anybody special. Like, why would she want me to be a part of it? So she had me go, and this was like mid-pandemic. So this is when people were like in lockdown and nobody was leaving their house. And I was like, oh my gosh, should I do this? Like, is this something that I should really take a risk on? And I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to show up. And that was the beginning of her telling me, like, I have this dream. I want to open this women's gym. And I know you're certified. So-and-so told me you're certified. I know you were trying to keep that a secret.
It's not a secret, don't
And
worry.
when she found out, I was like, I don't know. She's like, I'm going to show you everything. Like, just come under my wing. I'm going to help you. And we'll go together. You help me and I'll help you. And that's the beginning of, like, how I ended up here. It was because of her that I was able to start training clients. And I took on practice clients to practice, what is it like training people and how do you train women? And like, it was a lot of like, trial and error, getting to know different women, their different body types, right? And then trying to not only help girls lose weight, but girls who wanted to come to me and build muscle because they'd seen both sides of the journey. So it was because of Yvette and our connection on Instagram that was just able to get me to where I'm at now and able to help her not only run the gym, but reach so many other girls in our classes and through personal training as well. And just being like this entire space of women who were like myself, who were so afraid to walk inside of a room. And now like we lead that space. And
I love that.
It's really weird how it's come full circle. But like the girl that I used to be would have like never dreamed that this is like where I would be right now. So I'm so grateful for this whole journey. So yeah, that's kind of explains where I've gotten.
Oh my gosh, that's such a beautiful story. I love it.
You.
See, you could do it.
Yes.
That's motivation. So
literally, if I could do it, anybody could do it. Truly,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I love that. Were there did you face any type of challenges in that journey besides the self-confidence, building that?
Well, obviously, because I had struggled with my weight for so long, there were habits in my life that like I didn't know how to like break at first, right? And I think that's the struggle everybody has is like, how do I eat healthy? Where do I start, right? So I think I had to break a lot of things as far as like not just eating right, but like the way I spoke to myself and how I looked at fitness and movement, right? And like the privilege that I had to like tell myself that, hey, like there's a lot of people that wish they could move their bodies. Right. There's a lot of people that wish they could wake up every day and have the option to eat healthy. So I had to kind of like not just tell myself it was like good and healthy and I needed to lose weight, but also like this is a privilege and this is something that you have access to and that you get to choose. Like you can choose your hard, right? You can choose to make these easy choices and stay in your comfort zone, or you can choose the easy privileges that you have and show up for yourself like you deserve to. You deserve to not just work a 9 to 5 and show up for all these things, but not show up for yourself. Like you're going to go and show up for this job that barely cares about you, but you're not going to wake up and go to the gym or make sure you have healthy food to eat or just make sure that your goals are a priority. So not only was that like having to switch my whole life to like, okay, no more fast food, no more eating anything bad, no more sweets, no more drinking my calories. This is the life we have to live, because also it's not just like I'm trying to lose 30 pounds or 50 pounds in 30 days. I'm trying to like change my lifestyle. I'm trying to be a different girl. And I truly am. Like I never had worked out a day in my life. I was that girl that was like in the back of the mile at PE, like the 20-minute mile. Like I was never active. I was the clumsiest girl in the world. I still kind of am kind of clumsy. And it's just like my whole personality shifted when I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to accept that anymore. That may have been who I was and I might have been this girl all this time, but now I'm going to wake up and I'm going to choose different for myself. Right. And so I constantly had to visualize the woman I wanted to be. What would the girl I want to be doing right now? And so that was a hard thing because I didn't want to shame myself. I never wanted to shame myself because for me, shaming doesn't work. It'll work for a little bit, but the more you beat yourself up, the harder you have to beat yourself to get yourself up. Whereas like me, I'm like, no, I'm going to talk to myself the way I would talk to my best friend, because my best friend needed somebody to pick her up. Am I going to shame her and make her feel X, Y, Z? I'm going to talk to myself the way that I should be talked to. So I had to fight all of these demons as I'm trying to like work out in the gym and meal prep. And it was a lot more than just like, you know, okay, we're going to lose 30 pounds. It's like, okay, you're going to show up to the gym every single day before you go to work, because you have no other option. There's no other time. You have to go to work, and you got to study after work. So you need to show up for the gym. So a lot of challenges were literally just simply showing up and like making sure that I didn't put myself at the bottom of that list, because it could have taken me a lot longer to lose the weight. But because I was like, nope, I have 1 year. That's it. I got 1 year to prove myself. If I don't do it, this is my only other option. And I think having that goal for myself, and every month being like, okay, another like 5 pounds, another, you know, whatever. And then on top of that, changing my habits to like, okay, this month we're going to stop drinking our calories. This month we're going to, you know, start eating more vegetables. Like I literally had to like just set these little goals and small little wins and achievements. And then before you knew it, I was like, oh, wow, I did that. Like it was really like, I feel like I woke up one day and I was like, okay, she looks different. You know what I mean? It wasn't something that happened overnight. And I think in this culture, when we want instant gratification, it's so hard to be like, you deserve to take the time, because after a year from now, not only are you going to be smaller, but you're going to be stronger, better. You're going to have more discipline. You're going to stick to habits better. You're going to be such a different person inside and out. So yeah, that's like a lot of the challenge was just simply like being like, girl, you need to just show up. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I love that. Thank you, girl.
Yeah,
this is a good podcast.
You know?
She's
and I
speaking
mean,
it.
You know, because like anytime you run a business, it's like some days you don't want to wake up. Some days, even whether it's weight loss or running a business, whatever it is, you don't want to just. Some days you just like, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. But you just have to just keep showing up. The key is to just show up all the time.
Show up for yourself. Yeah. I love that. So let's talk about your approach to fitness. How do you tailor, no pun intended, your workouts to meet your needs and needs of different individuals, especially women with varying fitness levels?
You mean like how do I vary my training above like everybody?
When you have like people that maybe don't work out at all, it's like it's going to be super tired with a normal workout, or people that are more experienced with or work out a lot. Yeah,
it's definitely like a personalized experience every single time. So we sit down beforehand and we talk like beginning to end. What are your goals? What was your journey? How are you? Did you used to be athletic? Did you used to be, you know, an athlete in high school or when you were younger? You know, do you have any prior injuries? Have you ever stepped foot in a gym? And then ultimately, what are your goals? Because I think a lot of people are like, I want to lose weight, but it's like, okay, well, what does that look like for you? Do you want to be able to hike and climb? Do you want to be able to jump? Do you want to be able to just like manage an easier way of working out? Do you want to build muscle? Like just kind of like really getting to the nitty gritty. I never have a client come in and have them do the same workout program or the same meal plan, right? Every person that comes in is like, okay, tell me everything about you and where you struggle. And especially too, if it comes to eating, like, you know, I only eat once a day, or, you know, I have a really hard time like with binge eating. Cause like that, let's be honest, like the culture of like dieting and stuff like that, like the struggles with food is the same thing as struggling with addiction. Like there are people that at the end of their workday, they're not thinking about going to get a beer. They're thinking about going to get a burger or having a donut or eating ice cream. Like there's people that at the end of the day think about food as gratification or food as that constant thing in the back of their mind. So I try to really talk to girls about what is the issue of like why we haven't been able to reach our goals, and then how can I help you? And then when it comes to our personal training sessions, there are some girls that have to start off with just body weight, and that's cool. And after like a couple of weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, they start to progress. I've had girls come to me, I can't do a squat. Boom, in 8 weeks, 12 weeks, they're doing a barbell squat. You know what I mean? And it's just very individualizing the training and tailoring every single session to what that client specifically needs, and not just, you know, giving everybody the same cookie cutter plan. Because at the end of the day, that's why most people, I think, fall off. They go into these fitness challenges where it's tailored to every single person in the room, like as a whole, instead of like, hey, let me just get you and get you and get you and give you this plan and this plan and this plan. Because everyone has different body mechanics, anatomy, height, weight, like their posture is different. There's just so many things that as a trainer you look at when you're training girls, and you're like, oh yeah, she needs to do these movements because we need to fix her anterior tilt in her pelvis, or this girl has weaker knees, or this girl has lower back issues. So you really tailor everything, so that way not only do they enjoy their workouts, but they feel like, wow, I can do this. Like I can make this my life. I can show up for this all the time. This is easy. I like this. Like, you know what I mean? versus something that they hate and is grueling and that's uncomfortable. Like I've had girls come to me, tell me I've been with a trainer for 3 months and he makes me do all these burpees and medicine ball slams and I'm not losing weight. Well, because that's not really something you enjoy and you're barely showing up and you don't even like it. So like, you're going to fall off and you're going to eat whatever you want on the weekends because you're not following a plan that you enjoy. And once you get them on a plan where it's like, okay, this is your Monday through Friday, this is your meal plan, this is when you're going to show up with me, this is what you're going to follow, this is how they just like love that like personalized like one-on-one. And I think that's what I used to need. So when I see my clients, I see myself and I'm like, what would I have wanted? What would I have needed? And so I really make sure to like almost like nurture my clients in a way because it's like you really need extra support sometimes. And my sessions even turn into like therapy sessions. I'm sure your sessions you too. You're like, hey, we're gonna do this today, and it's like, girl, that man pissed me off this weekend, and then we're like, okay, we got to do another set in like 30 seconds, okay? But you don't like want to interrupt them because they're venting, and I get that though. That's because you release a lot of trauma when you're working out, and then also when you cultivate like a safe space where it's like, hey, this is what we're gonna do, and I'm here for you. It just really creates this connection where not only are they seeing their goals be reached, but they're being heard, and it's just like women supporting women and that connection we have with each other. Absolutely. It's different. Like it's really different, and I'm thankful to be able to have gone through what I went through because I feel like that allows me to connect with my girls a lot differently than if I would have never known what it was like to be a big girl up until I was 25 or whatnot, So yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. What do you believe sets you apart from like other fitness, I guess, instructors or programs?
Wow. I've never thought about that question. I've never thought about what like sets me apart.
Because you definitely do stand out.
Oh, thank you.
When you say your name, people know you in the community for sure.
I feel like, I'll be totally honest, I feel like when I first became a trainer, I was like, who's going to want to train with me? Like I have loose skin. Like I don't have experience in the game. I was not an athlete for many years. Like I'm barely getting into this. But I think it's that rawness and that being myself. And I'm goofy, I'm silly, like, but I know my shit. Like I study my stuff. And I make sure that like what I bring to my girls is stuff that I've like worked hard to like get knowledge on. And you have something that I don't know yet, boom, right, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna figure out how we're gonna tackle that, right? And at the end of the day, just like I feel like being our authentic selves, whether we've been in the game for a long time or not, is that what connects us as human beings. And I think girls, the girls that I meet just want to see somebody that they see themselves in, right? And so I think that I represent like, a real like, and all women are real women, but I just mean in the sense of like, man, like a woman who's never stepped foot in a gym, who doesn't know how to do anything, who really needs that support. She can see herself in me because I've been through it, whether they're skinnier and they're trying to gain weight and build a booty, which I've worked with tons of girls like that, or they're bigger girls and they want to try and lose weight, whatever it is. They see this girl who was a regular girl who had no experience in anything evolve and learn and get better and start from being a beginner to, and I really needed to see that. And I never saw that in the beginning of my journey. I saw like, the easy ways out and the surgeries and everything like that. But I never saw somebody really do it, the natural, like stick to it, the old school fashion way. And that's when I was able to like be that, I didn't realize that that's what like I always wanted. So it's weird because what I wanted, I kind of became. And I think that that's probably what sets me apart is being just that visualization of like, hey, like you can do this and you don't have to stop at just losing weight. If you want to do this and you feel passionate about this and you want to be a trainer, let's go. Like I've told so many girls to get certified because they have a passion for wanting to do this stuff. And it's like, I'm not going to gatekeep any of this from you. Like I'm not going to tell you that you can't be in my shoes or do what I do or run a women's gym. You can do whatever you want. So I think it's that too. It's like, if I can overcome losing 120 pounds, I can do anything. And girls see that and they're like, okay, I'm ready for this.
Right,
so
that's that motivation. Because if you see somebody do it, that's just an inspiration for you. Like even when, because we're the hardest on ourselves. So that self-doubt, and then when you see someone, you're like, yeah, that's confirmation right there.
Exactly.
I can do it.
They can see themselves in your shoes and it's like, oh, okay, like she inspires me. Any dreams that they have, they're going to more likely than not go start to reach for those dreams because they see you doing it. And, as much as sometimes it's scary for me to like step in front of my classes or step in front of anything where I'm like, okay, I'm a trainer. I got to be a certain type of way. You know what I mean?
It's scary.
I know. I don't think a lot of people realize that I am very like naturally shy because like the girl that I used to be was very like didn't give herself herself that permission to take up space, and truthfully didn't always have the permission to take up space. I was kind of like, there were some times in my life where I was like, man, like this sucks. People don't really like you if you're big. Like I would walk into a room and people saw me as a big girl, and that's what they recognized me for. And now when I walk into a room, people recognize me for losing that weight. So it's so weird because I feel like my weight has always defined me in a way. And that's where I feel like now I'm like, I'm going to use this and I'm going to let it define me in a different way. And I'm going to show that like, oh yeah, you're not just going to stop at losing weight. You're going to do all these other things and make sure that women know that it doesn't stop there. Like whatever ways you want to evolve or transform in your life, you can take it outside, that energy from inside the gym, and take it outside and do whatever you want with it,
I love that. Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk about challenges and triumphs. Can you talk about, well, we know your biggest challenge, but a challenge with being a female fitness instructor versus your journey. Has there been any challenges that you have ran into?
Well, I think more so the response of being a female trainer in a women's gym is definitely something that stepping into the being a personal training was definitely intimidating a little bit, but then also doing it inside of a women's gym, gotten comments right off the bat, oh, what, you're anti-men? And it's like, no, actually there's a lot of women who have a history of domestic violence or history of just their own issues that they've had, trauma with men, that they deserve a space where it's just for them, and a female trainer that wants to cater to them. And that doesn't make her any less weak or any less, incapable of stepping into a co-ed gym and doing what she can do there. It's just the comfortability of that, you know what I mean? So I think one of the challenges that I've seen as far as being a trainer in the female space is that response, but you don't typically see that response nowadays. It's very much more positive. So I think more so the challenges would be regular challenges as far as the seasons go, and when training is really picking up and when it's not, and how to constantly be a light and a motivator to women who fall off in those seasons. Because even my clients, sometimes Christmas or Thanksgiving rolls around and it's like, hey girl, I'm not gonna make my sessions because and so I'm like, okay, we got this many weeks in the year, or what, we've you remember those goals that we've got, I'm always here for you, and just always letting them know that I'm available to them, and hey, your time slot's still open, you can call me, and just being that, and showing up for myself in that way too throughout the seasons, showing up and being hey, we can still do this even though it's hard, even though this time of year, not the best time of year, it's still, you still got to keep showing up for yourself. So those are probably the biggest challenges that I find.
Women, we just prefer something for ourselves. So it's funny to hear that. It's men saying that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
it gotta be.
Yes, exactly.
So that's just crazy to me. I'm like, we can't have nothing. We can't have our space. Dang, y'all got everything.
Exactly. But when I say that, I've had men say that to me in person and say, oh, so what, you guys are anti-men? And,
no, it's not.
Kind of correcting him and being like, no, actually, we're not. I actually know a lot of male trainers that I've sent women to, hey, if you need extra help, he can help you out. Or, it's not being anti-men at all. It's just creating another alternate space. For women. I mean,
because I hear so many stories of women being in gyms and being harassed and they just want a space. We just want to go. We want to talk about our girl stuff.
Exactly.
And just have that energy, that sense of sisterhood.
Exactly.
And I definitely see that through the gym.
Yeah, and I don't think that those people that have criticized it really see or are aware of those situations, or it's or they're coming from, it's the calls coming from within inside the house. You know what I mean? It's those people that are offended by the fact that we want a safe space, and but it's not we have signs on our windows that are anti-men, no men allowed, don't. It's really just hey, you need a private space 24 hours. You want all female trainers. You want female coaches that are catering their training to you and doing your body scan for you. It's just a comfortability that you really can't find anywhere else. And honestly, if I would have had a space like this back in when I first started, I would have thrown my money at it, because that would have made me feel so much more comfortable than all the time I spent Planet Fitness, hiding in the corner, being nobody look at me. You know what I mean? Because just it's not, obviously not all men, but there are certain men that don't have boundaries and that will just come up to you in the middle of your workout and be like, hey, are you single? And you're like, oh my God, I'm just trying to finish my reps, sir.
Right.
So it's never been anti time in, it's just more like, hey, this is for the ladies. Like, you know, we're here for the girls and for their safety and protection. And just ultimately, too, at the end of the day, building a community. I think that people miss that. Like, there are a lot of women that come and they've never stepped foot in a gym before in their life. They don't have any friends. They're like moms who've been moms for a couple of years, and they're like, I need to get back in the game. And they want that comfortable space, and that should be allowed. Like, you should be able to do that. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So it's such a privilege, and I'm so grateful, you know, for Yvette having that dream and wanting to pursue that, because I don't think she even realized how much of a blessing that she started, because it's become our little sanctuary. And like, even when, you know, our clients are going through slower seasons, like the gym is always full of girls every single season, and you just watch them evolve in so many ways because they have their own little space. They're not stressed out every time they go to the gym. They're not worried about like the things that you worry about in a mainstream gym. So it's like, of course they're gonna grow and evolve and lose weight, and because they show up every single day.
And they have that community, people like cheering them on and seeing them. So that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Have you encountered any misconceptions or stereotypes regarding women's fitness? We kind of touched on that a little bit.
That essentially.
All right, and you said how you addressed it. Back up. Let's talk about empowerment through fitness, and we've been talking a lot about that in our conversation already. But how do you believe fitness empowers women beyond physical health?
Oh yeah, kind of what we were talking about. I feel like it does so much, because you can see yourself, when you see yourself get stronger or overcome things in the gym, it gives you that confidence and strength and willpower to be like, okay, I can handle whatever I've got going on out there. You know what I mean? And I feel like sometimes that's why we go to the gym. It's like that therapy of like, I can't handle everything that's going on right now. I'm going to go to the gym right now. And then once you can kind of get out that stress and reframe your thinking, it's like, okay, I can do this. Like, I can handle that. And I feel like that was a huge part of my journey. I've never really talked about my childhood and what I went through in my teen years, but I had a lot of things happen in my childhood and teen years that really kind of like set me back in my life, and I had to like really work from the bottom to get back up to where I felt like, okay, I'm stable, I can focus on me, I can get, and I think that like that journey and overcoming all of that just really, sorry, I lost my train of thought.
You're fine.
Just really allowed me to put myself in a place of like, okay, this is not your end all be all. Like, you can do all the things that you thought that you could do, right? If you can lose 120 pounds, you could do anything, right? So it's like, even a girl coming in and being like, okay, I've never worked out a day in my life. And then she goes and starts lifting and hits like a PR of 135 or something. Once she knows she can do that, she's going to walk out and be like, okay, I can go to that job interview. I can go and, you know, take this opportunity. I can start my own business. Because she's going to realize like she can do more than what she thought that she could do.
Absolutely.
So I definitely think that like fitness is this gateway to other wins and achievements that you can hit once you really like step in and throw yourself into not just the gym, but the energy of like, I'm going to show up for myself and give myself what I deserve. You do it a little bit in one area, it starts to trickle into every area of your life, and you're like, and you just become this whole well-rounded like bad bitch, you know?
Yeah, I like that, girl. Yes. So let's talk a little bit about nutrition and fitness. How important is nutrition? I know it's important in conjunction with fitness, especially for women.
Oh my gosh, it's a humongous. I can't tell you how many girls come in and they're like, I'm like, okay, tell me about your eating habits. And like, well, I have a Starbucks coffee, and then I'll have like a bowl of cereal, and then I don't eat for like 8 hours, and then I'll get home and like have a microwave. And I'm like, girl, and you want to lose weight? Yeah. And so when we talk about fitness, like I know that we're all busy. Like, that's one of the number one reasons why most women can't eat right, is because we're moms and we're going all over the place, or we're just business owners. First thing we do is wake up and start, working, and you don't have the time, or we don't make the time, right? So it's kind of like sitting with ourselves and being like, okay, where are the holes in my life where I'm not eating either enough or right at first, because when our metabolism drops like that, right, when we don't eat enough throughout the day and our metabolism drops, it makes it so much harder for us to lose weight. We carry more cortisol, which sits in our lower belly, and everybody's like, how do I lose my lower belly, or how do I lose my mommy pouch? It's like, well, girl, you got to drink more than a Starbucks coffee and a bowl of cereal to function throughout the day. So a lot of people will come into the gym and they'll work out, and I'll be like, did you eat today? And they'll be like, I had this and this. And I'm like, okay, you need to go home and eat. Like, I'm constantly asking my girls, have you eaten enough? Because it's not always the problem of overeating. Sometimes it's like you're not eating enough throughout the day. Your metabolism is fighting for its life, right?
Yeah.
Or you're not getting enough, things like iron. You're not eating enough, meat that's got iron or beans or things like that. You're not getting enough magnesium in your diet. There's so many like minerals and vitamins that women need to just function, especially around our menstrual cycle. And then on top of that, you're trying to beat yourself up in the gym and build muscle and grow a booty, but you're barely eating 30 grams of protein every day. So it's like having to like show women that, hey, food is not the enemy. It's just the amount of food, the frequency, and what you should be eating. And again, it goes back to like, do we take the time to show up for ourselves? Do we time manage? Do we take a Sunday or a Saturday to like meal prep our food, go to the grocery store? And 9 times out of 10 people are too busy, right? Or they say they're too busy. So what I found is like, okay, if I don't have the time to cook a bunch of chicken, I'm going to go buy a rotisserie chicken, shred it up, put it in the fridge. There's so many easy things that you can do that I even give to my clients, so that way they know that this doesn't have to be like rocket science. It doesn't have to be hard. We got to find the things you like. We got to look at your day and figure out what holes we need to fill in with healthier options. And then you pair that with showing up for yourself in the gym every day. Boom, it's going to work in conjunction. Yeah. And what I love about Doyen is we have a body scan machine that we have our girls stand on, and it gives them not only their weight, but their body composition, and then gives them a nutrition profile. So it's going to weigh me and it's going to tell me, okay, you're 175 pounds, but you're 140 pounds of muscle and 30 pounds of, body fat. In order for you to lose more body fat or build muscle, this is how many calories, protein, carbs, and fats you get. So then we build them meal plans off of that range. And our girls have just like seen an amazing result from going from barely eating or like not knowing what to eat to following like a structured day of eating and personalized to them and what they should be eating in their life, because everyone doesn't like the same stuff. You know what I mean?
Real quick. So, because I'm a vegetarian diet, so what would that look like?
So you would need to consume a lot more like tofu and soy and beans and those kinds of things, plant protein or like plant protein powders.
So I'm not a big soy.
Edamame, do you like edamame? Things like that. Yeah. Okay. So we would have to find like the higher protein, vegetable based, which there's a lot. Yeah. See, mushrooms are really good. Things like jackfruit. There's a lot of options actually nowadays for vegans and vegetarians. So you definitely can find ways to still be plant-based. And I have a couple clients that are actually plant-based, and I find it really fun to like build their meal plans, because it's more challenging, because it's like, okay, you're really gonna have to eat a lot, but like good stuff, like really, really good stuff. And when they start, you just see a whole change in the way that their strength is, their lifts, their body composition, they're holding muscle better, they're dropping body fat, and they just feel better. Girls will be like, I'm sleeping better, or like, I wake up and I feel like I have energy, and it's so much more than just the losing the body fat. They just like feel like they live a good, healthy life all the time, versus feeling like they're tired and they're depleted because they're barely eating anything and they're running off caffeine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I always wanted that, because I'm like, I'd be trying to put together like my protein.
Oh, I got
stuff
you.
Like that.
Yeah, well, I got you. I'll show you.
Let's talk about self-care. What type of self-care practices do you prioritize?
Definitely prioritize meditation, like stress relief. I definitely struggle with anxiety and like needing to like breathe. Sometimes I find myself like so stressed that I'm holding my breath, and then I'm like, I haven't breathed in a whole minute. Okay. So meditation is one of them, and journaling for sure. I definitely like to take the time to sit with my thoughts and kind of like talk to myself. And I've gone back in my journals and looked at entries that I've had from like, 2 or 3 years ago, and been like, wow, like I've really come far, not just even what has happened, but just the way my mindset is and the framework of like what I'm thinking about. And those are definitely two of like, my mental self-care. Stretching, obviously, and I don't think people stretch enough, but stretching.
I've been trying to work on it, because girl, I've been waking up stiff like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I need to stretch, but I need a stretch class.
Yeah. Well, when I was in 2021, I got in a really bad car accident, and I had to go on like a whole physical therapy plan, because I have 3 herniated discs in my back. Wow. And the doctors were like, no, you can't barbell squat. You can't lift. You need to stop lifting. Like, I thought my career as a personal trainer was like done. I really believed that it was over. They were like, you need to have surgery, all this stuff. And then I went to this amazing physical therapist, and he was like, no, you don't need to do that. You need to just follow this program. And he's like, but but you need to follow it. You got to do all these stretches. You got to do all, and I was like, man, I don't want to do all these stretches and band work. But I knew that if I was going to be able to squat again or deadlift again, I was going to have to do it. And I also knew like this was going to better me as a trainer, right? Okay, I have to go back to square one. This sucks. Like I was in the prime of my fitness. I was like the best shape I had ever been in. And so it tore me down a lot, and I got super depressed. But I was like, okay, I'm going to relearn how to like, brace my core again, get my mobility back, focus on stretching. And sure enough, I went back to barbell squatting and deadlifting, and I don't have any pain. I could do all the stuff that the doctors told me that I couldn't do anymore. And I follow his stretching plan all the time, and like, have incorporated more mobility stretching. And it's changed my life, because I feel like I don't struggle with like the knee pain, back pain, all that stuff. And even when I was, training before him, I struggled with those things. So being kicked down a couple notches after my car accident and having to like go back and start from square one actually was so much better, because now I make all my clients stretch and like I can look at them and be like, okay, no, we gotta stretch that out, or you're tight here, or I even send them to him, because it's just mobility is so important on top of the strength training and weight loss, because at the end of the day, like women struggle with things later in life, like osteoporosis and like all kinds of things like that. So we don't want our mobility to be messed up because we're lifting a bunch of weights. So stretching goes hand in hand with all of that. So stretching, meditation, journaling, and just taking like me time off of social media. That I think is like really what
It's hard when you're a business owner.
Yes.
That's what I'm learning. Like I'd be trying to, but I'm like,
oh, it's too much. I'm
like, I need
how
an
you run your business.
So that's why I try to do a lot of like batching. So I don't really need to be on social media if it's I just will go and peep in, make sure it posted,
exactly.
type thing. But it's hard.
Thankfully,
it's
they're coming up with like tools and things like that to help us.
I'm glad the Instagram that they have the scheduling.
Yeah. It's so nice.
I love that, because I was using third parties before, and you'd get like shadow banned and different stuff like that. Your engagement wouldn't be high, but now that they introduced that, it's so helpful.
Yeah, and it saves so much time, because you have to like go from recording things and then posting and then like and not even that, your website that you have to run. It just, there's so much to do, and then trying to keep up with engaging with everybody, showing up for everybody, making sure that you're supporting and seeing everybody. It's hard. It's like another social aspect that's like heavy for all of us. I think not even just business, but everybody. We're trying to show up for ourselves every day, and it's like we want to show love to everybody and support everyone, but sometimes you just have to like step back and like take a second and like be in real life. And I think that being present is something that I wasn't like prioritizing throughout my whole fitness journey. I was like, oh, we got a weight loss goal, we got to do this, we got to do that. And I've had to recently in life be like, pump the brakes, like call your grandma, be present, like hang out with your sisters, go and do this thing that like may not be helpful for your business right now, or you might not be making money right now, but you need to like be present in your life. You don't just live to work. So that's basically been my self-care recently.
Right? You do anything like beauty wise, like massages, chiropractor?
I did go to a chiropractor a couple of times. It's not too much my thing. I've actually never had a massage. I have
you serious?
I have 3 gift cards to go get a massage.
Girl.
And the people that gave them to me, I'm so sorry. But yeah.
This is a prime example. When you a business owner, that you need to take time for yourself.
I was just telling you, like, I need to come in here and get some services, but it's just that showing up for ourselves is so hard.
Schedule.
Like,
I've learned to schedule it.
My hair, I need to go get my hair done. My lashes, yes.
You do.
So you really do.
And don't don't try to move
press
stuff
the
around.
Button, book, and just turn away.
Book it, block it off on your calendar.
Yes.
That's what I have to start doing. I gotta do that with like my facials and stuff like that. I block it off and I will not move anything. Sometimes I'll be tempted like, well, I could move this around and get you in. No, I'm not. I'm gonna take time for myself.
That's so good. I need to do that.
Yeah, you gotta start doing that. You gotta take time for yourself for sure, because we're the last ones at the end of the day. And if you're not right, how are you gonna show up for your clients?
Exactly. That's what I tell myself all the time. Like, girl, you need to go in there, refresh your, rejuvenate yourself.
Schedule the massage.
Yes.
Okay. Get on the calendar.
Booking it right after.
Do you have any fitness inspirations or role models?
I do. There's like a couple of, Yvette's obviously one of my biggest inspirations. Not only her like physical journey, but just the journey of like how she's gotten, this far in the fitness world, and like starting a women's gym in a market that's like saturated with gyms. Fresno's saturated with gyms. Like there's not a lot to do in Fresno, so people like working out. But having a women's gym in this kind of market is definitely like a challenge, but it's inspirational to me because she just has no, like, nothing's gonna stop her. Like, she's like, nope, I know my women are out here and I'm here for them, and this is their, and so I love that. And when it comes to some influencers that I follow on social media, there's a couple of girls that have, one of them had lost 140 pounds. I believe her name is Misho Baby on Instagram, and watching her go through a similar journey as me and lose that much weight and then become a trainer and just have such a huge online presence, like, seeing that super inspirational to me. But I feel like I'm still struggling with that, putting that online presence out there, because I'm just so about like the in-person connection. Like, I'm really good at like the in-person, like the classes and all of that. But as soon as I get in front of the camera, I'm like, hey, you guys. I don't know how to like master that, you know, putting that online presence out there. But I'm trying, because I feel like, you know, seeing her and a couple of other girls, you know, put that out there and be that representation is so important, because you would never know it exists, and you would never know that certain things are possible if people didn't share their story. So everyone has a story to share, no matter how insignificant they might think it is or how small it is. Somebody's going to see you and they're going to be like, wow, like, I can do that, or that's possible for me. Even if I, you know, go in this direction, like, I can do whatever that thing is. And so I try to take all of that and put it into my own journey, and even put it into my clients. Like, no matter what it is that you want to do or how scared you are, just do it. Just put yourself out there, because you never know what comes from putting yourself out there. Or that step one, day one. Like, day one will turn into day 365, and before you know it, you're like, oh my gosh, like, it happened. You know what I mean? So
it's something like, because I know that you're saying like it's hard for you to put the like your presence out there, for whether it be like social media or whatever. Look into, I've mentioned it before in other episodes, look into like Fresno State and the schools as an intern, just to have someone come in and capture like your content while you're working out and stuff like that. That's a good way to
have some help putting that presence out there.
So you don't have to feel like so stretched thin. Like, I'm doing the class, I'm creating the class, and then I have to also create the content, edit the content, post the content. So it'd be nice to have someone come in, record your stuff for you, even if that's the only thing
and
they do.
And capture those raw, candid moments, too, because I think that's what I want to do.
And it's kind of hard. I mean, it's cool when you put up a tripod, but sometimes it's good to have different angles, and you need a physical body to do that. So look into that.
And I think in this era of like TikTok and stuff too, people love just like being able to sit and like watch somebody talk about have something regular. And I don't know why that's so hard for some of us, because I know I'm not the only one that struggles with like, you know, wanting to like talk, but things like this, like setting up these conversations is just like, it's so beautiful and important, because the more vulnerable and like raw we are, it's like the more that we see each other in ourselves, and we can go and accomplish these dreams and these goals. And I think that representation and like building these spaces where we can be represented, that's why social media is so powerful. So I definitely need to go over to Fresno State and get one of my little
look at that up. I think I can't remember where I seen it at. It was something online, and they were saying they referenced like Red Bull about their campaign, and how all their campaign is like more authentic. It's just like the customer's experience, and that's all of their, nothing is like branded ads, and that's how they have got to where they are. Far as like social media, because social media, that's what the platform was created for, type thing. And so when I seen that, I was like, that's good. I like that. Like, to get the more of like the customer experience and have more of that customer like content on there.
Because I think that's what we want. That's why people do like reviews and like mukbangs and stuff, because they want to know a real like response. I think that's why people, you know, that's we want to know the real experience. I think people are tired of being sold something. They want to know and see it and like feel it and hear about it. So I think it's, as much as it may be intimidating or, you know, just hard, it's like, it's worth it. It's worth taking the time to put yourself out there. And not only does it connect you with people, but then your business grows too. So.
And then get your girls to like set up like reels and create reels. That's content too.
Some of my girls are so good at that.
Yeah, just ask them to make that. Yeah. Even if you gave them like a small incentive for it or something, and that you can take, because I have people that come in and do that here, and people like to see it from their perspective, so it's not so, like I said, brandish. So think about that.
Yeah, I try as much as I can to record my clients throughout their whole journey, so that like I have day one and then like day, you know, whatever. Nice. But then I'm like going back in my phone
trying
to pull videos. So it's like, it is so much, but it's finding that strategy and like, you know, and sending them to my clients. Every time we finish a session, I'm like airdropping all their videos. Okay, you keep your videos, you keep your pictures, you keep track of them.
Put them in folders.
Yeah,
That's easier. I just need Apple if y'all ever see this, I need y'all, when we put stuff in a folder, I need it to stay in the folder. Get it out of my main. It's so annoying. It's so, like, we can get all these other updates, but we can't get that.
No.
That's the only thing I'm asking for.
Please, in 2024. Please.
Right, please. Come through. Okay, so let's talk about client engagement and retention. What methods or approaches have you used that's been effective for you as far as retention with your clients?
Really like listening to and hearing their needs and like delivering on those needs, right? So whether a client's like, I just want to come in here and I just want to, learn how to use the gym equipment, or I want to come in here and I want to be on a 3-day-a-week program with you. And really like personalizing it to them, I think, and being like available to them is what's really helped me. I think the clients that do, like if I'm not texting them like, hey, how did our last session go, or, throughout the week, or if I'm not, present in the session with them, like, because there's all different kinds of ways to train people. And you'll see like memes about it on social media. Like, do you have the trainer that's like on their phone? Do you have the trainer that's like, distracted, got ADHD looking over here? Being so fully present with them and like making sure that I'm watching for every single moment that they can go heavier or any single moment they can do more reps is probably what really like my clients love, because they always tell me, no, but you can't push me like I push, like I can't push myself the way you push me, Taylor, or I can't do this on my own. And I'm like, I know, because you think that when we get to 10 or 12 like that's good, but you need to be, so it's like being able to be fully like locked on them and give them my 100% like attention is something that I feel like brings them back every time, because I'm making sure that every single time, like, we're not wasting a single second of like what you could be doing, and then helping them like see that they can achieve PR. So like the other day I had a client, and for the first time ever she did 165 and a hip thrust, and she wasn't even prepared to know that we were doing that. But once we had finished her set, she like kind of looked at me and was like mad, and I was like, you just did 165, and she was like, really? And so it's those little moments that like I know my girls like, because this can get tiring, like you sometimes you're tired of showing up to the gym, or your body hurts, or you're like, and it's also an investment in yourself, right? So constantly getting my clients to invest in themselves all the time, you have to be delivering their results. You have to be delivering something that they can't get on their own. So I'm going to push you harder than I've ever pushed you. I'm going to text you and be like, hey, how are you doing? How are your meals going? I'm going to, follow your program, make sure your program is up to date every single time. So it's those kinds of being really hands-on and like engaged and like watching their progress. And then also really like giving them their flowers all the time, not just when they lose 5 pounds, not just when they, all the time, when they hit a new PR, when they do extra reps, when they show up, because sometimes they just don't even want to be there. And they're like, I had a bad day. I almost wanted to cancel on you. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad you showed up. We're going to have a great session. You don't need to bring me any energy. You just need to be here. Like that kind of like, that's what I think I would want in a session. So I'm going to deliver that to my girls. And, I have girls who've trained with me years ago that come back. And then I have girls that I've trained for a whole entire year nonstop every Tuesday, Thursday, and that girl has been sticking with me, or this girl Monday, Wednesday. And so those are my girls, because that's their life now. They're like, I don't want to go to the gym by myself. I just want to be showing up for you. Aww. So it's really nice, because I have very loyal, beautiful clients that I've watched evolve. And if I could just be that person that's like, hey girl, I'm here for you. Let's do it. Like in her good times and her bad times, like that just, it means so much to me. And that's where I really think that me and my clients connect, because it's not just about like, hey, come in here, stretch, do your burpees, do this, run on the treadmill, bye. Like we connect and we have like a whole experience. And that's what I want for them, because they should love their gym experience. It's something you're investing in. It should be a whole experience that you enjoy, absolutely. Not just like a brutal workout that you feel like you're dying and then you don't want to come back the next day, So.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Okay, so for your fellow instructors, let's talk about financial management, because I know that that's probably something the instructors probably struggle with. They're trying to learn. How do you manage your financial aspects of the fitness business and balancing the expenses and revenue?
Making sure that I always have a log. Okay, how many clients do you have this month? How much money are you making this month? Are you hitting, is it the quota that you need to be hitting, or do you need to have more clients? It's constantly keeping track of how many clients I have, and if there's room to fit more, and if I need to have more on my plate, or like the amount of clients I have is good enough, right? And then having another budget for everything that I need to spend my money on, which is the programming, which is, the insurance every month, and then the marketing. Like I have to set aside money for like, okay, I got to boost my posts. Okay, I got to to do this. So keeping like track of like everything I spend money on for the business, how much I make from the clients, and then, okay, what do I want to profit? How much more do I need to put on my plate so that way I'm, and I've constantly been doing that to make sure I'm always, and granted, you're going to have months where you're not going to have that many clients that are hitting, right? So then it's like, okay, what do I do? Do I do a sale of some kind? Do I do like some kind of like, reach to get, do I do open up group sessions? Do I open up my online training? And so because I'm able to do in person and the classes and then online training, I give myself multiple avenues to have that income. So that way I'm not just relying on personal training. I'm not just relying on the classes. I'm not just relying on online coaching. So that way, it's all laid out, and that's kind of how I manage my budget. Yeah.
Okay. I heard you say something about boosting posts. You boost posts on Instagram? Don't do that no more.
Oh, really?
No.
No.
You're not reaching a new audience.
Really?
It's only boosting to your audience.
I did not know.
You got to run
that.
ads.
Oh.
I don't run ads, but look into it. Hire someone to run ads. But if you boost posts, if y'all out there boosting posts, stop doing it.
Okay.
Because you're only boosting, you're only getting in front of, Instagram is only going to say like, oh, I'm going to put this out in front of your followers more so they can see it, so you can get more likes and more views on it. But you want to ideally get in front of new eyes.
Right, exactly.
And that's going to be ads. So that's a little nugget for y'all.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't advise that at all.
Okay.
Because you're not going to get that new.
Well, dang.
Yeah.
But also creating that incentive for my clients too, to like refer people.
Oh yeah, for
that's
sure.
a big thing too.
Yeah.
Like telling my clients, hey, if you refer somebody, or like, and or just, hey, can you post, tag me in your post or post your progress? That has helped so much, because seeing the progress in front of your eyes, and sometimes I don't have to do anything. Sometimes my clients will be like, hey, I went to this party and my cousin saw and I looked really good, and they want to know, if they could train with you. So I get things like that where like I don't even have to reach out. And so as long as you're just like putting in that work, sometimes it'll come to you. Sure. Yeah, as long as you're present with that work that you're doing. So
for sure. Yes. What advice would you give other fitness entrepreneurs regarding financial planning and sustainability? You kind of touched on that, but is there anything else that you would advise them? Is there any like apps or like programs you use to like?
I use QuickBooks for self-employed, so that's basically how I it tracks where my money's coming in, and it literally tracks like what expenses are going for like my training programs or whatever, my rent, everything that I'm paying for my clients, right? To make sure that I have that everything ready for them. So I think the biggest thing would just be like, okay, if this is your side job or whether it's your full-time job, how many clients do you need to make the budget, the profit that you want every month? Right. And then once you know that, once you have that goal in mind, constantly figuring out, okay, how many posts do I need to make a week? How many messages do I need to send to people? How do I need to target? How do I need to be on TikTok, Instagram, like finding all of those avenues? And then the moment that it starts to slow, or the moment that you feel like you're not, or, whatever it is, you just constantly have to like look at your roster and see, okay, this is how many clients I'm at, or I need to cap it here, or I can make, and then trying to make the most value for your clients so that way you can have as little clients, right? So like having full packages where I'm like, this client gets this many days, this full meal plan, XYZ, so that way I'm taking on less clients, but I'm still making more money. Does that make sense? Yeah. Right? There's some clients that just want in-person training, and there's some clients that want the whole shebang. So it's like, if I can find those clients that are wanting to pay that price point where they want the whole package, I can take on less clients because I have those clients that are paying for those bigger packages versus, having smaller sessions, here and there that aren't really generating a huge amount of income. So
okay, cool.
And also like having month plans, so having clients like pay 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. Some clients want to pay a year in advance. It just depends on what you want to deliver, and showing them a goal, like this is what we can get to in 6 months, 3 months, whatever. Those girls, those girls are the ones that, or that market is definitely what you want to tap into. Showing somebody that, hey, this is what we can deliver you in this amount of time is more than likely going to be an investment that they're going to want, versus you just being like, okay, this is like, we can try and do this. That reassurance that you're going to give them, that is something too, that when you get those new clients, having the receipts to be like, this is what I'm giving you and this is what you're going to get. And then at the end of the day, it's a transaction, right? If they show up and they do it, that's great. If they don't, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you're always delivering what you need to deliver to them. Yeah.
Okay. What advice, we talked about advice as far as like that, but is there any advice that you would give like new aspiring fitness instructors on like starting their business? Just start?
Yeah, honestly, just start. Like, don't be afraid. The market's oversaturated with, trainers everywhere, online, in person. But I think if you work on developing your craft, your knowledge, and your experience, find a mentor, really find a mentor, somebody that you can like ask questions, somebody that can guide you, somebody with experience, though that is really going to help you. And then just going all in. What makes you writing? What makes you special, right? Like, what is your brand? What's your story? Like, how are you different from all of the other markets out here? And then running with that, putting yourself out there, finding clients that maybe you want to practice on and like test on. Okay, can I try, some personal training on you? Can I give you a 4-week, 8-week, 12-week program? Can we do this? Can you be my guinea pig? And really getting into understanding what it's like to be a trainer. Because I think, it's easy to go get certified. You can go online, boom, 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 pass a test. But when you're in the nitty gritty of training people and delivering something, you can't have everybody doing jumping squats or, barbell squats or whatever it is. You have to really like be in it to understand like everybody's body mechanics are different. Every client's personality is different. Everyone's goals, history. So really getting to understand like it's gonna be a little scary at first. You're not gonna have all that experience at first, but as long as you keep putting yourself in situations to gain experience and trying to pick up that knowledge and giving yourself grace that you're not gonna be perfect at first. Nobody ever is. Everybody's a beginner, even as a business owner. We don't all have it all together, but making sure you're conscious about seeking that information, I think is all your clients and the people that you work with want. They want to be reassured that you have experience. You know what you're talking about. You know what you're delivering. So if you have that and you stand on that and you know that you've been doing it, then boom, like your business is going to excel and you're going to find clients and you're going to, the more you just pour into that. So that's my biggest thing is just really get all the knowledge and mentorship you can so that way you have that confidence. Like, yeah, I may not be in the game this many years, but this is what I know,
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much
thank you for
this. You have dropped
having me.
so many gems. And I
so nice
hope
to be
any
here.
aspiring fitness instructors are grabbing them from this because she
Yes.
definitely has inspired.
Everyone has something special. Like you got to find your light and just run with it. Let yourself glow. And whether, you're an athlete and have been an athlete and you want to show people that they can be athletes or you're someone like me, like everybody has something special. So whether there's a million trainers in the world, be a trainer. Whether there's a million hairstylists, whatever it is, just be you. Your light, your people will come. That's my 2 cents.
I love that.
Thank you for having me here, truly. You're such a light and your energy is so beautiful and I love what you're doing here.
Thank you. So tell everybody how we can find you.
Oh, yes. You can find me on social media on Instagram. My Instagram is Taylor Winter with 2 I's. And then you can also find me at Doyen Barbell and Fitness, Glute Camp Fresno, and Doyen Activewear.
Yeah, she got a twerk class coming.
Oh, twerk shop. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Y'all probably going to see this afterwards, but definitely follow her because she be having the twerk classes, girl.
You guys have to find out about those. Everyone's invited to those.
All right. We'll see y'all next week.